Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you to this session, this afternoon session of the Forum on Content Production and Distribution for Digital TV in Africa. Earlier on, we had a session on that has to do with monetization, which threw a lot of challenges up that people are saying that how do we actually get into the digital platform when these challenges are besetting a lot of African nations. I'm happy to say that for this panel, most of those challenges will be addressed, or we'll try and address them. And I have with me two eminent panelists who are going to be talking about the role of mobile within the digital space and how content creators, content publishers, broadcasters can tap into that. Let me introduce them by saying a big welcome to Ms. Candice Goodman. Candice is the CEO of Mobitainment, based in South Africa. And I also have Mr. Ntutuko Mageba. He is a partnerships and distribution executive for the National Film and Video Foundation, also in South Africa. You are both welcome. So Mageba, can you give us a little bit more about context about you, please?
Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Benjamin. My name is Ntutuko Mageba. I'm the Partnerships and Distribution Executive at the National Film and Video Foundation in South Africa. We are a developmental funder of TV and film. We are an agency of government reporting to the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture within South Africa. So we are the national body that when it comes to the funding of film and television. In terms of my background, I've worked extensively throughout the continent. I've worked for organizations such as CNBC Africa, Bloomberg, as well as other businesses. So I do have a bit of experience of working in the continent. Yeah.
Excellent. Fantastic.
Hi, everybody. My name is Candice Goodman. I'm actually a girl geek. I love technology, and I love how technology can enable a life for good. And that's hopefully what we're going to be sharing with you today. I represent a company called Mobitainment. We're technology enablers. And basically what we do is we translate mobile technology into marketing and business results. So we work on behalf of brands, and hopefully today I'm going to be sharing those learnings that we've experienced over the past 14 years with you in terms of how we can leverage opportunities, especially during these times. As I mentioned, we've been around for 14 years, won international awards for the past 13 because of business impact that we've had with the technology solves that we've implemented. We've won #1 technology providers in Africa in 2018 by the Mobile Marketing Association. And I'm very involved. I work on the IAB Education Council, and predominantly to educate and train people in terms of digital technology and digital media. And what's very big passion of mine is the use of incorporation of inclusivity. And that's one of the topics that I think we're going to be talking about today, which is very top of mind.
Excellent. So guys, my question to you, Candice, is what are the opportunities that are currently prevailing when it comes to the ability or the possibility of creating content that you can put on mobile or digital devices and you can take anywhere with you?
Right. Would you mind if I shared my screen, Benjamin?
Please go ahead.
So, in terms of the opportunities, what comes to mind first is the fact of this icon. The fact that the biggest challenge that I think we face in South Africa and throughout Africa, listening to the various speakers in the previous sessions, is the cost and availability of data, especially during these COVID times during lockdown. I think it was on the previous panel that I think Mr. Yinkap, representing the Independent TV Producers Associations, he basically mentioned that the challenge of internet coverage and the cost of data in Nigeria was a barrier to the consumption of digital content. And I believe we're experiencing the same in South Africa and in other countries in Africa.
Sure.
Tutuko, I don't know if you want to comment on that, if you agree.
Yeah, I do agree, Candace. We do have major challenges when it comes to connectivity in South Africa. So basically, I think in answering that first question that Benjamin has asked, I'll just like to share some interesting stats of where we are in terms of mobile in South Africa. So I'm happy that Candace mentioned that other statement earlier on, that mobile always, but I would also still like to perhaps include that exhibition is still an important platform for, but I do agree in terms of the next opportunity and the biggest growth, definitely mobile is the way to go. Mobile as well as OTT platforms out there. So when you think about it, in South Africa, we have about 850 screens. That will make it about 1.9 screens per 100,000 people. And then
Sorry, Tutuko. When you say 850 screens,
yes.
What does that mean?
So it means in terms of the exhibitors, we've got 3 main exhibitors in South Africa. We've got New Metro, we've got
cinema screens. Yes,
yes, cinema screens, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So as I was saying, that makes it about 1.9 screens per 100,000 people. So, and when you think about it, there's about, in Africa, we have a population of 1.4 billion. And in that 1.4 billion, we have about 444 million mobile subscribers. So already, you can already see the opportunity there in terms of mobile, because with mobile, you are accessing a whole lot more people. Your market is growing extensively. As I said, so in South Africa at the moment, there's about between 20 and 22 million people that own mobile phones. That's already way more significant than the exhibition space that we have. So mobile is definitely where the opportunities are. And if I can say something maybe from a funding perspective, is that I think there's a big focus from a funder like us to say that what sort of content do we now fund? Are we looking at user-generated content, or are we looking at short format content that can live on these mobiles? So that's also where the opportunities are, to say, with the advent of Corona, which has taken place recently, there's a whole lot more people that will not be, and with all the challenges of social distancing that are happening at the moment, there's a whole lot more people that our film industry and our filmmakers and practitioners can reach without necessarily with people risking their health by going to cinemas or whatever the space is. So I think that's where the opportunities are, yeah.
So, excellent. So Candice, you said the biggest challenge, I can see this slide you put up, which is the cost and availability of data, especially during these times. Now, with the opportunities that Tutuko has highlighted, how do we begin to resolve this challenge?
So basically, there is, the good news is there is a solution to this. And
tell us.
I don't know if anybody has heard of a movement called the Data-Free Movement. And basically, yes. It gives us the opportunity to take mobile data and have brands or sponsors sponsor that user engagement with respect to sponsoring the data costs for the consumer. So basically how it works is it uses cloud technology and basically eliminates the mobile data cost barrier by enabling the concept to use the telcos to reverse bill the model. So right. If you can see these two sites, flashscore.mobi on the left and flashscore.datafree.co, we create a mirror image of your site and basically suck the content through. So it looks the same, but it's on another domain. And if you want your user to experience your content, but in a data-free environment, you basically promote or publish that URL that is data-free. And then they can engage on their mobile phone. Either if they've got Wi-Fi, they would use the Wi-Fi. Otherwise, it would use their data, mobile data pipe. But the cost for that data would be reversed billed to the sponsor, which are brands or the sponsor of the content, whoever that is. That concept has been rolled out very successfully in South Africa and also on Airtel in Nigeria as well.
All right, so tell me this, that this is an interesting situation because it does then solve the problem of, oh, we don't have data to watch or we don't have data to access. But the question is, from the point of view of the person that is actually producing the content or the content owner or the person that wants to get on that platform, who goes to look for the man or the woman with the money? Who goes to look for the sponsors? Is it your platform or is it the platform that looks for the sponsors that then shares revenue with the owner of the content? Or you have to go look for your financing and then come to your platform? How does it work on that point?
So basically, we have brands wanting to communicate with their consumers, and they can't at the moment because consumers don't have the airtime on their phone to be able to engage with the brands. So the demand is actually coming from the brands, and they have been hungry for a solution to be able to pay for the data costs for their consumers so they can actually carry their message and get a message back from their consumers. So it's not a case that we've had to go out and look for it. It's actually there. And in South Africa, on the data-free platform, they've launched a platform that's similar to WhatsApp called Moya Messenger. On there, they've got over 1 million users that's growing virally, spread by word of mouth. And there is a directory of all various sites in South Africa that are data-free. So you can get soccer news like this flashscore.mobi. You can get celebrity news, essay news, government news in terms of promoting the messages of COVID-19, games, etc., surveys, a whole bunch, and also branded content for funeral cover, etc.
Okay. So, Ntuthuko, what do you think about having a solution like this and putting it out? What are the challenges that you can envisage, and how do you think that this can be resolved within your space?
I think one of the challenges would definitely need that the telcos will need to form a sort of partnership in that we make it that the content, all the channels are channel agnostic, which means that the content can live across all the different telcos and their different platforms. And it will also be that when our filmmakers and our practitioners come with this content, they don't necessarily need to jump through all the perceived hurdles of showcasing this content. So what I mean by that is that in South Africa, we have an organization called the Film Publication Board, which is what will normally verify the content to ensure that there's a whole list that they have of things that it shouldn't do. So with this sort of opportunity, I would imagine that those sort of verifications that would need to happen at a very quick rate. In that the film practitioners, as soon as the content is ready, the verification process should be as quick as possible to get it onto the platform, and then obviously for the viewers and the users to be able to consume it. Instead of, I know the process can be a bit tiresome at the moment to get your content verified and all of that. So I think there will be an opportunity for the telcos to sort of find a way of working together to make the content channel agnostic.
So excellent. Now, and address the content owner or the content producer that wants to resolve that issue so that they can get their content on the digital platform, on the mobile platform. How does it work in process terms? Where did they start from? How did they get engaged? How does this work? How did they know it's working? How did they make money out of it eventually?
Perfect. They just need to concentrate on the content production like they normally do. So this is technology that collaborates with it and is an adjunct to it. So they just need to concentrate on that, and we develop that mirror image of their same content to deliver it to the audience that may struggle with the data costs. So it's no impact in terms of content creation.
Okay, excellent.
Just enables distribution. If I can take it just and make another point.
Okay,
In
go
terms
ahead.
of content, in terms of content production, I saw this meme a few days ago on LinkedIn, and it really touched me, because these are the two most important symbols in the universe right now in terms of video conferencing. And what we found is huge demand in terms of getting content out there through video conferencing and live streaming. And the good news is they've extended this this scenario to reverse bill. And in fact, I don't know if you know, Ntuthuko, that they've actually been able to, on June 17th, the day after Youth Day in South Africa, they were able to dynamically stream the KZN Legislature Youth Parliament on data free, so that everybody could join in inclusively without any data, to be able to hear what the panelists had to say. So I think that's really a step in the right direction for content distribution.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Ntuthuko, what do you think?
Wow, I actually wasn't aware of this initiative of the data free of the youth legislation. It will be quite interesting to see how it panned out. But I think definitely, this is a step in the right direction. We know, I think South Africa possibly has one of the highest data costs and Wi-Fi costs in the world. I think that may also be because our market is mainly controlled, or rather there's only a few players in the market in terms of the big telcos. The barriers to entry are still quite high. I would imagine a scenario whereby we have a lot of players coming into the market, therefore enabling competition, therefore enabling a lot more people to be able to have access to data and Wi-Fi, and obviously the content that will be on the mobile.
Yeah. Well, so I'll stay with you for now. I'll come back to Candice, and we can proceed with the presentation. I'm sure there's more information that wants to come out. From the position of the NFVF, the National Film and Video Foundation, with regards to mobile first media consumption, you mentioned that one of the things you do is to fund content.
Yes.
How is it from your situation? Are you funding more content that you think should go on the digital platform first, or content that most of the content that you're still funding, are they still going on terrestrial, sort of quote unquote analog platforms? The reason why I ask is because then we know where the money is going, and how our producers and content owners can follow that accordingly.
Okay, thanks for that. So we've mostly been funding content that would either live on the exhibition space, or even travel throughout the film festivals around the world, or even TV. So we fund your features, we fund short films, we fund your documentaries, and as well as we fund for micro budget films, we fund for made for TV. However, we haven't been funding content that lives on the mobile platform yet. But obviously with what's happened, it's become a major focus for us to say, look, we need to sort of re-strategize and re-look, considering that a lot more people will be looking for funding for this space. It hasn't been a major focus for us. However, the sort of content we fund is production, we fund development, we fund marketing and distribution, and we also do training and development as well. So those are our major funding pillars that we use. And it's, as I said earlier on, it's mostly content that will either go to, the different OTT platforms, your Netflix, your Showmax, your Mzansi Magic on MultiChoice, or if it's commercially viable, then it will also live on the big screen in terms of the big exhibition. But this is a new focus for us. We're actually in the process of developing our own VOD platform. It's going to be called, it's going to be called ZAR Films, which is ZAR, the abbreviation for South Africa, South Africa Films. And it will act like a content management hub of all South African content. So it will move across film, television, music, arts. So for anybody sitting anywhere else in the world, whatever sort of content you are looking for that is South Africa related, you'll be able to get onto this platform and be able to view it.
I think that this is going to be more leading through an archived sort of
correct
content situation, and then that will live on mobile phones, and you can tap into that from anywhere you are in the world.
Look, yeah, so it's a web-based app platform at the moment, but we will be looking for partnerships on the app-based side of things, the mobile people, such as Candace, so that we are then able to cover both aspects, whether it's web and app platforms. But at the moment, it's a web-based app platform, yeah.
So Candice, let me go back to you, because I know when we were speaking a few days ago before this panel, you mentioned something about an opportunity that currently sits on using WhatsApp.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you educate me more a little bit about that, please?
Sure. So WhatsApp is definitely the word on everybody's lips. And in South Africa, just to share with you in terms of stats, out of the 36 or so million internet users in South Africa, according to We Are Social this year, 95% of them are using chat apps. And 94% of Nigerian internet users last month used WhatsApp. So definitely it's the word on everybody's lips. In South Africa, 89% are using WhatsApp. And consumers out there are expecting brands to be on WhatsApp. They expect to request information from them, start a conversation and get support, not necessarily receive information from them, which is a good point. So WhatsApp Business has made available their API. There's strict rules in terms of sending notifications, in terms of distribution. So you can't use it necessarily as an alternative to SMS, as a cheap alternative to SMS, but that's a conversation for another day. But there is a way to implement, using technology, a chat bot on top of a WhatsApp business line. And what that enables us to do is to bring in a whole bunch of useful use cases for this technology. So we can use it for registrations, for surveys, to communicate PDFs or FAQs. But in terms of this content, this audience, we recently launched a first of its kind audio novella on WhatsApp.
Wow.
And basically, it was very, very exciting. And basically the context was, it was the story, we followed the story of a mixed marriage couple, 2 South Africans, and the story was called Make Room for Love, and it was sponsored by Volkswagen for their Tiguan Allspace. And we launched these audio novellas in an episode based, and each week you could come on and see the next episode in terms of, it was a video representation of the conversation between the parties. It was very exciting, very interesting, very well received. So that's just a form of contact and using WhatsApp as a distribution channel, because what the power of that has in it is the ability to then be shared very, very easily with people's contacts on their mobile phones, and it goes viral.
Absolutely fantastic. So this kind of content will be short form content, basically, essentially, for it to be able to travel across mobile devices.
Correct.
The lighter the better, especially if you're going to make it data free. But I'd like to show you a case study, the WhatsApp Soapy, using all the different media of WhatsApp to tell the story. So you totally embedded on WhatsApp and follow the story. Can I share that with you?
Show it to us, please. Go ahead.
So this is the case study.
Funerals are a big deal in South Africa, yet many South Africans don't take out funeral cover. This can cause major drama among family members. To illustrate the tensions that come with not being covered, we created our own drama, which played out in an unexpected place. WhatsApp is the most popular digital platform among our audience, where more and more family conversations are taking place. We launched Ukushona Kwelanga, an original South African WhatsApp drama. Our audience was invited to follow the Langa family in real time in the 7 days leading up to the funeral of the deceased father. Messages came in throughout the day as the characters discussed arrangements, and our audience got to be part of all the twists, turns, and unexpected surprises that come with planning a funeral. The story was written in collaboration with Bongi Ndaba, renowned South African scriptwriter and former head writer of iconic TV shows such as Generations and Isidingo. And some of the country's best-known actors took on the roles of the family. To make our drama even more gripping, we made the most of existing WhatsApp features, including photos, film clips shot from the character's perspective, and voice notes.
The man we'll bury today was my dearest friend.
We also launched a promotional campaign to build an audience through traditional media, social media, and PR. Sanlam managed to give consumers first-hand experience in just how complicated planning a funeral can get.
Wow.
What do you think?
Wow, that is amazing. Oh, wow.
But tell me about this case study. Break it down for us. How did the concept start? How did they manage it in terms of production? How did they finance it? How did they then get it out to the WhatsApp group? How did they find the WhatsApp group? If you have that information, so people can understand the context behind it, if you see what I mean.
Perfect. I don't have the inside information to be able to share with you, but just in terms of my technical knowledge, you basically, this was a grouped base, so you would actually have to be invited to join, and then you would accept and you would follow the conversation of the group of the characters, and they would post information either on text or images or voice notes or video clips. That's the technology side of things. And it's up to the content producer side. I don't profess to be a content creator. We just enable the technology side of things. So it's up to brilliant brains like yours to be able to take that creativity and package it into ways that most suit the channel that you are on.
Ntutuko, tell me about your impressions and how you think this can be extended.
Look, I'm very impressed. As somebody said earlier on, I think it is marketing out the box. I think from a government perspective, I think looking at what Candace and her team are doing at the moment, what this is highlighting to me is there's a huge need for public-private partnerships. Candace's team are the experts in terms of technology. We as government are the enablers. So with us working together, I think we can broaden the scope to so much more, to be including everyone. And I like the view of a Pan-African view, because as much as we are based in South Africa, I don't think we should only have a local view. The continent is a big, beautiful place. So we need to be able to reach out to the different markets. We are currently signing up with, we've got a lot of co-production treaties that we are signing up with the different countries. At the moment, and it's not a nice statistic to say, we've got about 15 co-production treaties in South Africa. And unfortunately, all of them, except for one, which is with Nigeria, are with European or South American countries. I think when we first started out, it was the UK and the Netherlands who were the first countries, and Canada, sorry. Those three were the first countries that we sort of came into a partnership with. And I think it was mostly because of the festivals that we also fund filmmakers to attend international festivals all over the world. So there was obviously a need for our filmmakers, for their content to sit on these platforms, on these festivals. And for us to be able to do that, we were then able to then come up with these sort of agreements to make it easier for them, so that when they apply for their content to be showcased on these festivals, and they actually get to go to these festivals and they meet their other colleagues, then they're able to work together much easier. I think in Africa, as you would know, I think we've got about 3 or 4 big festivals. We've got Carthage in Tunisia, we've got the Durban International Film Festival in Durban here, we've got Afrif in Nigeria, and we've got Ouagadougou. So I think the reason why we've been able to sign up one with Nigeria, although it's taken many years as well, I think it was Remy yesterday who said that there has to be a willingness also from the government. I think we have to take responsibility in terms of, we are sometimes the problem in terms of implementing these things onto the ground, because they take so long. Leaderships change and everything, then they fall through the cracks, and it's up to the next person to sort of pick it up. But there is a concerted effort to then focus on Africa, to increase these co-productions with our brothers, with the rest of the continent. Yeah, so I think that there is definitely an effort to do that, yeah.
So you are expanding your partnership scope, and you're hoping that through that you can get distribution going. And that then leads me to the next question, which I want to bring into Mrs. Candice Goodman's domain, which is resolving these challenges that we all face in this mobile-first world. How do we, once those challenges are resolved, in terms of the technical challenges or the infrastructure challenges, how do we begin to monetize as an industry the content or the material that we have on this platform?
I honestly believe that that we should put the cost of the production not on the viewers in terms of subscription or anything else, but on advertisers and brand sponsors. Yeah. Brand sponsors are so hungry to deliver their content and the message in a very creative way. And we can use the expertise of the content creators and the video producers to enable that, to get them to sponsor your message and to fund that. They've got the big money out there. And if we make it relevant, entertaining, and useful, we can definitely have a platform that is funded for the good of the community and for the brands itself to encourage their objectives as well. So I definitely think that's the key.
Mr. Monsieur Mageba, with monetization of mobile-first content in the age we live in, what are your thoughts?
I think I'll also just touch on to what Candice said earlier on. I really do think the opportunities are with the brands, be through product placement. I think it's very important that our filmmakers now get to understand the business of film, and not only just look at the creative side of things. And what I mean by that is that I know that they may not necessarily be equipped to go out there and look for sponsors to help them to do this, to monetize their content. But I think it's very important looking at the bigger picture and knowing what you want your content to do. And obviously aligning your content with the messaging that some of the brands might be doing out there, and seeing how you can then mirror it together. I think another big one is we really do then need to look at the revenue share model of how all of this would work. I think with the understanding that we are trying to impact and improve the earning capabilities of our filmmakers, it will then be up to the telcos in terms of how they would then structure the revenue share model. For example, our revenue share model that we are doing with our VOD platform, we've got a 90%, 10% split. 90% goes back to the filmmaker, whereby we only keep 10% and we only use that for maintenance and for marketing. But I think we really do need to look at models that are in favor of the content creators and the content owners as opposed to the platforms themselves. Yeah,
true. Going
Absolutely.
forward, specifically, what will be your message to the market in South Africa and across Africa in terms of the general situation of what we are talking about, which is prepare for the digital world. It's going to happen, but this is my message to you.
My message would be to the South African viewers as well as the viewers across Africa. I think what the current pandemic has brought about an opportunity. It might not look like that so far because of maybe of all the disturbances we've experienced, but I think it's time for our filmmakers, first of all, to rethink, reframe, and then restart in terms of how they look at content consumption. We can't always be stuck in the old distribution channel of everything landing up on theater first, and then maybe going to pay TV, and then maybe going to DVD, and then free to air, and then VOD. What this opportunity has brought about is a new look at the 4IR. The government in South Africa is really focusing on the fourth industrial revolution, and a lot of focus and funding will be going towards that. So I would say for content creators and filmmakers throughout the continent, I think start aligning your thoughts not only to look at film in the in the traditional sense. The advent of technology is here. Companies such as Candace, with their expertise and knowledge and wisdom on how we could partner, are here. So there's a whole lot of knowledge base that is out there that you can tap into. Start doing your research, look at new opportunities, even if you are doing a whole film using your mobile. So there's a whole lot of opportunities out there. So rethink, reframe, and restart. That's my message.
Very well said. Rethink, reframe, restart. The 3 R's. Ms. Goodman, so I ask the same of you. What's your message to the industry? And what would you like to see going forward?
I don't think my message would be this. Some people believe that technology will change Africa. I personally believe that Africa will change technology. And I believe we have it in our power to use the problems that we've got to make the changes needed to solve our local issues, like the data-free solution, like the reverse billing, like various other technologies that we've come up with. I mean, we've come up with the Please Call Me with USSD and all sorts of other tools that have spread around globally. And I think in these times, we can innovate and use our resources to add towards those technological toolbox to enable us to connect more and to collaborate more. So that would be my message in terms of, and maybe I would focus instead of on the R's, on the C's in terms of connection and collaboration. That would be my message.
Connection and collaboration.
Yes.
Let's connect, let's collaborate, let's rethink, let's reframe, and let's restart. And if we do all 5, the 2 C's and the 3 R's, I'm sure we will get there. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, audience.